Good morning and welcome to new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. A few days back, an international think tank was meeting, and in the webinar that was there, I was amused to find that my adopted country, Canada, which is, according to us, the heaven on earth, one of the best countries to live in, is not taken up as a country where the normal things expected in a great country should be there, posing as a great donor. We have been plagued by political corruption and insensitiveness. And then I found, after I thought, that Canada needs to be reinvented, that this one of the great countries of the world needs to be re-engineered, restructured, and as a matter of fact, reinvented. Now you are going to ask me that countries are not invented, they're discovered. Well, Canada was discovered quite some time back. And would you believe that it came into existence exactly 10 years after India's first war of independence? The British Parliament passed the Dominion of Canada Act just a decade after they took over India from East India Company and made it a colony of the British Empire. And at that time, Canada was used to begin with as a penal settlement like Australia, like USA. The criminals were just shunted off these inhospitable areas, the lands, to fend them for themselves. And then they started the fights with the local people who were farmers and fishermen, who were miners, and with their superior skills, they could overcome them, confine them to their habitats, the reserves, and this great country, like its neighbor south, came into existence. Amazingly, in 150 years, it became a pivot of growth, of economy, and those people who were the pioneers who slogged in the high sea places without infrastructure, this vast land developed, and the natural resources which were there were exploited for the good of the people. Undeniably, they took over or took up, copied their mother country's institutions and tried to put them in. But since they were originally themselves all outlaws, and most of them were, either they were penal offenders or their guards and the keepers. So the justice system that evolved was particularly soft on the criminals. Naturally, natural instinct to protect yourself. And the other institutions which came, which were basically an amalgam of the British system and the American system that evolved, the Republican system. So this hybrid system was created politically. And again, since those people were basically suffering from penury and poverty, they evolved into a concept of a welfare state. So a monolith was sought to be created, but it did remain a monolith because of the immigration policies. And today, this country has a plethora of problems. Justice system is practically horrible, to say the least. And even the former Chief Justice of Canada had to admit that it needs revamping. Well, I would not say only revamping. It needs not overhaul, it needs building anew. The political system is curious that despite being free, we are still semi slaves. Would you believe that if we were a republic, the money that we spend on the Governor General, who is a representative of the Queen, would be enough? But here, we not only spend on the Governor General, we spend on the Queen and her family. And that is equal to more than four heads of a state expenditure anywhere else in the world. We could easily say that if we do away with this fake system of monarchy or the remote monarchy and become really independent. So the political system needs revamping. The judicial system needs revamping. The immigration system needs revamping. The economy needs revamping. And most of all, the system of welfare state that has taken roots needs to be absolutely reworked. The system as it is now encourages parasites, encourages indolence, and rewards for not working. Now, you would think that everything is wrong with the country. No, everything is not wrong. The people are great, hardworking, basically extremely human, sincere, and do not suffer from any of the infirmities that the people in the places suffer. Some people do have certain inhibitions, but then who doesn't have that? So there's nothing wrong with the people. Whatever is wrong with the systems, with the institutions, and with the processes and procedures. The processes are wrong, and consequently, the end results are disastrous. Now imagine our priorities, whether they are in economy or whether they are in politics and diplomacy or lopsided. We'll spend billions in dollars in foreign aid. And then who gets the foreign aid? Those very people who have no notion of humanity, countries like Somalia, countries like Niger, those countries which don't deserve. And then again, we give foreign aid not to protect and promote human rights, though the ostensible reason is good to the people, but it enriches only the people at the top who are rapacious. So, what we have at home, the welfare system, where indolent, where parasitic elements get all the money earned by the hardworking Canadians. Internationally, we are doing the same thing and encouraging parasitism. And then those people sneer at Canada when they say, hey, Canada is not with admiration, it is that here are some fools who are wasting their money on us. Justice system, less said the better. This is possibly the only country where the victim is not given the solace but the criminal's rights are paramount. This is possibly the only country where a self-confessed terrorist and a murderer could be rewarded with millions of dollars. This is possibly the only country where the women who killed dozens of innocent could go scot-free and get education at the expense of the taxpayer, where sex offenders are permitted to move back to the localities where they have committed the crimes. This is possibly the only country where the criminals, the terrorists are welcomed with open arms. Those very people who threatened to cut off the head of the Prime Minister, to blow up CN Towers, they are welcomed with open arms on the specious plea that, well, they have repented, they have agreed to change their ways. Does a leopard ever change the spots? No. But then the political leaders. And then the corruption. The latest act of the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister, the family of the Prime Minister, the total disregard to the Ethics Commissioner is just a continuum where the sponsorship scandal at the time of Gretchen. And we have the we scandal now. And that is because our political institutions have been devalued. The parliament is toothless. How many days it works? And whenever an important issue is there, the Prime Minister is at liberty to prorogue it. So we need to reinvent. Now, how to reinvent is another question. We have to start with the basics, change the system of the government, make it a presidential form of government, cutting unnecessary president, prime ministerial office, let the prime president be there. And as a matter of fact, the system down south would exactly suit this country. We'll be saving millions of dollars every year. Secondly, we would not be, we might still have corrupt people coming, I don't deny it, but the corruption would be reduced appreciably. Then we have got to rethink the welfare system has to be abolished. The immigration has to come to an end. Now let's be very clear. Or it has to be reduced drastically. The refugee system has to come to a stop, absolutely. Now, isn't it amazing with the immigration system what's really happening? That the original Canadians, the pioneers who slogged in the unwelcome climate, are today feeling neglected, ignored, and victims of reverse discrimination. All this talk of the white supremacy has no meaning in this country. And yet, the Prime Minister is never shy of only encouraging those elements which are basically affiliated to or have links with the groups that are not human at least. Our foreign policies need to be adjusted. So do our domestic policies. Inside the country, we have built up countries. The provinces are more like autonomous states. The interprovincial barriers have got to be removed. Absolutely. The systems have got to be uniform. I moved from Ontario to Alberta, and I find that with all this talk of everything, Ontario is much better than Alberta is in many respects. The policies, the systems. But the country as a whole needs revamping. So what we need is a commission right away or a new constitutional body which looks at all the institutions, all the systems, all the policies anew, dispassionately, and this commission should be composed of the people who have no axe to grind, who have no prejudices and no favorites, whose only interest is Canada, its reputation, and its future, the future of the Canada and Canadians, not of the people who are terrorists, gangsters, murderers, rapists. Until and unless we can reinvent Canada and ensure a metamorphosis of its institutions, absolutely. It is not amendment we require. It's an absolute new look that is needed. That would make Canada come in the comity of the nations as a great country. Instead of being a follower, let it be a leader. And that is possible only if Canada can be reinvented. And the sooner the Canadians realize it, the sooner they realize it, the better it would be for them and for the future generations. Thank you.